Today we're going to practice using the exponents. Who remembers what an exponent is? I'll give you a hint.
Decimal?
No, Zoe?
The small number?
The small number beside the 10. Remember the powers of 10? And these at the very bottom are exponents beside the 10. What does the exponent tell me to do? Joshua?
How many times you're going to multiply?
Good. Multiply what?
The 10?
The 10. So if it's 10 to the 4th power, how many times am I going to multiply the 10? 4 times. And kids sometimes make this mistake. They accidentally think 10 to the 4th power is 40. So what mistake did they make?
They divided.
They multiplied 10 times 4, didn't they? But you have to multiply 10 times 10. Okay, so here we go. On this one, it says to write them in exponential form. They want you to get hung up on that word and not know what to do. But we know what an exponent is, don't we?
Yep.
How many are there?
4.
So this would be 10 to the
4th power.
Now I'm going to add a step, so put an equal sign. Okay? Now I want you to multiply 10 together 4 times. And we won't do this on all of them, but we're going to do it on some of them. Okay? How many are there?
3.
So 10 to the 3rd power. And how many 10s will I need to multiply together? 3. Okay. Can I still count the zeros?
No. Yes.
Yes. So how many zeros are here?
2.
So 10 to the... Oh, I knew somebody was going to say that. 10 to the 2nd power? Yeah. How many 10s do I need to multiply? 2. Okay, how are we doing? You try the next ones and then we'll check them together. Okay. You don't have to do 10 times 10 times 10. Okay. Count your zeros. That's it. Okay, I'm going to pull sticks. Now, are you just writing a 10? You don't have to write the answer. So 10 to the what power, Zoe? On D.
Second?
Well, how many zeros do you see all together?
4.
Okay, so it's 10 to the 4th power. If you didn't write this, please write it now. Alea, what about E? How many zeros do you see on E?
1, 2, 3, 6.
Okay, so 10 to the 6th power. I won't make you write 6 10s, boys and girls, okay? Unless you just want to.
Do I have to write like all the times because that's making me
Well, do the first part first. Do the exponents first, and then if you have extra time, go back and write the 10s. Okay? So for F, Anita.
Okay, 10 to the 6th power.
Good. I sure thought that was going to be 5. Because this time we get to write the answer in standard form. So let's just write the numbers, okay? No exponents needed. So take a look at A, B, C, and D. What do you notice about those? Carson.
They all have, every single 10 has an exponent.
Okay, so you're going to be multiplying exponents, okay?
Yeah.
What else? Alex?
it goes higher numbers.
They are pretty high. Here's a hint.
Whole numbers.
Are they all whole numbers?
Yeah.
No decimals or fractions.
Those are all decimals. I mean, not
Okay, and then over here we've got decimals. So we should be able to use which trick? Zero, add a 0 to the end. Take a 0 off the end. Okay, so 9 times 10 to the 3rd. The 3 tells you how many zeros to add.
9,000. 3.
3 zeros. Don't tell me the answer. 1, 2, 3, comma. Because I care more about what you're doing to get your answer. Okay? What about 39 times 10 to the 4th power? Gracie, how many zeros will I add on this one?
1.
For 10 to the 4th. How many zeros? 4. So a 39 with 4 zeros. What number did you end up with?
300,000.
390,000. Okay.
Second.
What about these two, C and D?
Oh, I got it.
Well, tell me what's different about them first of all, Autrey.
There's divide.
Their division, okay? So instead of adding zeros to the end,
Take
so
them
in,
away.
what do I do?
Um,
I take them off. Anything divided by 10, take a 0 off the end. Okay, how many zeros do I take off the end?
2. So it's 72. The other one, I need help.
So if you take 3 zeros off the end, why did I take 3 zeros off the end? I'm dividing so I can take zeros off the end. Why did I choose 3?
No, wait, that was too much.
No. Why did I choose to cross off 3 of them, Lorenzo?
Because you're dividing, and what is it called?
Exponent.
Exponent is divided by 3.
And when I divide by 1,000,
You take away 3 zeros.
I can take away 3 zeros. So that's why I take away 3 on that one. Okay, make sure you're paying attention. E, F, G, and H. I would like to practice the decimal trick with you, and then we'll check them on the iPad place value charts. Sound good enough?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to practice the decimal trick together. Remind me what the decimal trick is. Maybe let's write it down over here. Now I know it's opposite of the place value chart. So write down your decimal trick. So opposite. When I multiply, my digits go to the left, right? So the opposite of that would be,
right.
so move the decimal to the right when I multiply.
When you divide, you go to the left.
And on the place value chart when I divide, do I move digits to the right?
Yep.
So decimal trick is opposite. Move the decimal to the left. Now, did I tell you when I was a kid they didn't teach me anything but the decimal trick?
No.
We never had a place value chart. We never moved the digits across. I had no clue what was going on with the powers of 10 or anything like that.
Wow.
So, take, for instance, 4 and 25 thousandths. Rewrite that number somewhere down here. 4 and 25 thousandths. Or you could even write it on your iPad if you want. Okay? Now, the decimal hop trick says, when I multiply, move the decimal to the right. How many places?
4.
What?
3.
Okay, watch me. 1, 2, 3. Place the decimal. Erase. What's your answer?
4,025.
4,025. Does that make sense? If I have 4 whole and I take it times 1,000, am I going to get 4,000?
Yep.
Yes. Do we need to check it on the place value chart, or do you feel good about your answer? Okay, all right. This one might be a little harder to figure out without the place value chart. Okay, so the next one, 40 and 25 hundredths, write that, write that somewhere nice and big so you have room to hop the decimal. 40 and 25 hundredths. Decimal trick says when you multiply, move the decimal to the
Right.
right. How many places? Oh.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Place the decimal. Fill in with zeros. Erase your hops. This is why an iPad's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you have? Should we write it down and then figure out how to say it? Let's do that, okay? So we're going to write 402, 500, 1, 2, 3, comma. How do I say that number? 402,500.
No ands.
No and, till you get to the decimal.
No ands.
Let's put it on the place value chart. That was 40 and 2,500. Let's put that on your place value chart. I'm waiting. Now we are not using the decimal trick. We are multiplying times 10 to the 4th power. How many place values will I move it for 10 to the 4th power?
To the left. 4 times?
4 times. Where'd you come up with the 4, Gavin?
Because there's 4 zeros.
4 zeros on 10,000. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down. Here's how you write it. Multiplied times 10 to the 4th power. Ooh, I like your handwriting. And then, of course, I move the other digits over. And if you're on an iPad, could you change the color of your zeros?
Yes.
Yeah, you could. Just so we know we filled in with 2 zeros, didn't we? So what did we get? 402,500?
Yeah.
Is that what this says?
Yeah.
Yep.
402,500. Okay, let's take a look at the next problems. G, we're ready for G. We're going to keep practicing the decimal trick. Okay? So when I divide, move the decimal to the left. Okay? Write 72.5 down, somewhere on your paper or your iPad or somewhere, and we're going to hop the decimal. And I need you to have it already written. Write it. When I hop the decimal, how many place
Twice.
values? Which way?
Left.
To the left. 1, 2. If you forget, can't you just look at your little decimal T-chart here?
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay. So, what do I need to fill in with? Whoops.
0.
A 0. Aiden, how do I say this number right here?
7,252,007. Oh, 0 point. Oh yeah, pardon. 0 and 725 thousandths.
Do I need to say 0 and?
No, you just say.
Okay, say it again.
0 point.
No.
No,
You start with 700.
725.
Awesome.
Messed it up.
That's okay, I'll edit that part out. I'm getting pretty good at editing out mistakes out of the video. I just zoom along there and find a mistake, and then I just know how to do it now. So,
That's good.
yeah.
Makes
So
it easier.
you don't have to get nervous or worried when I'm recording, okay? Okay, don't get nervous or worried. It's no big deal.
Okay.
Okay, let's do, should we check this, or do you feel pretty good about it?
I feel pretty good.
Okay, 7.2. It's very hard for me not to start singing right now.
Me too.
7.2 divided by 10 to the 2nd power. How many place values are we moving? 2. Decimal trick says when you divide, move the decimal to the left. 1, 2. Place a decimal. Fill in with zeros. Erase my hops. What do I get?
0.
Oh,
72,000. No, 72,000.
72 thousandths. I'm wondering if we need to have a class just on saying numbers. All right. So it says complete the patterns. Before we can complete patterns, we've got to figure out the rule for each pattern. So write rule down with your pencil. Okay, are these numbers getting larger in value or smaller in value?
Larger.
How do you know so quick? How'd you know so quick, David?
Because the decimals.
Okay, the decimals, there's less digits in the decimal place value. And then what about 30? Do we know it's larger than 3/10? So what strategy will I use on this first one? I've got to multiply. And how many place values did they change each time? So they changed one place value, so that's multiply by 10. That's the rule. Okay? Now, to solve the one with 3/10 times 10, can I just add a 0 to the end?
No.
No. I have to hop the decimal. And you don't need to use your iPad for this one, but we will for some of the others, okay? So this is going to be 3, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to erase that. My decimal's after the 3. Do I need to write it down?
No.
No. Okay. What about the next blank? Do I have to hop a decimal?
Yes.
You sure?
No, you just add the
Just add a 0. Good. And what about here?
Add a
Just
0.
add another 0. Okay. Good. Hey, on this next one, when we get to the last blank, you can write it on your iPad, okay? But listen to me beforehand. Not yet. We're not to the last blank. Okay, so the rule. Are these numbers increasing or decreasing in value? Decreasing. So that means I divide. How many place values, Mia, do you think they're changing or moving?
3.
She's close. Let's look. I've got 3 zeros here and I've got 5 zeros here. What's the difference? 2.
I can't see
So-
that far away.
That's okay. So we just crossed off 2 zeros. Can I cross off 2 to figure out the next one?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Okay. What about here? Can I cross off?
Yes. No.
No. So write this on your iPad. 6.5.
Erase. Okay.
All right. So you got 6.5 written? We're dividing by, ooh, I forgot to write. What are we dividing by? 2 place values is what number? 100. So divide this by 100. Which way will I move the decimal? How many places?
2.
Then I take my eraser. So what do I write on the line? Zero point 0.065. And it's 65 thousandths. Do you see how we're using the iPad to help us with the decimal hop?
Yes.
Does the eraser make it any easier?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we'll be able to use the iPad on these 2 blanks, it looks like. Okay? Maybe just one blank. So what's my rule? Am I getting larger or smaller? So divide by. Now I've got to check here. How many place values does the decimal move?
1.
1. So divide by 10. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 10 except for on the first one.
You're just gonna add a 0 from the other one.
Okay, so I have to actually multiply times 10 for the first one, don't I?
Yeah.
So add a 0 to the end. Remember, don't place your decimal till you're finished. I mean your comma till you're finished. Okay, so now I can divide by 10. What strategy?
Take away the 0.
Take away a 0. 943. Okay. What strategy here?
Decimal.
Okay, so write this on your iPad. 9.43. Then change the color of your pen. And we're dividing by 10. So which way?
left.
How many?
2.
1. Then you erase. Then you write it down. How you doing? Fist to 5.
These things are magnet. They can snap.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Okay. Well, that's one way to keep it from rolling on the floor. Okay. I'm having fun. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
We've got to quit playing around though and get our work done. So let's stop on this because it's not even on your exit ticket. Okay? And I want you to turn over to your exit ticket. And I want you to write your decimal trick here because you're going to need it. And some kids in the earlier classes, I think they would have done better on the assignment if they would have written that down. Go ahead and write your name on this exit ticket also. Remember, when you turn it in, you don't have to flip it back to the front. Just lay it down. Okay? All right, now, A and B are just like the first ones we did. So I'm going to put a C here. You don't have to write this. But I want to remind you what you're doing. Because you have to write it in exponential form and...
Are we allowed to use our iPad?
No, not right now. Just listen. I'm doing an example for you. Put your pencils down. You do not have to write this. So if I'm writing this in exponential form, I'm going to count my zeros. How many are there?
3.
So I'll write 10 to the third power. You do not have to write this. Put your pencils down. Put the stylus down. You should not have anything in your hands. Okay? Then how many times will I multiply 10 together?
3 times.
3 times. It all matches. So when you do these two, your strategy is count all the zeros, write it with an exponent, then write it as factors of 10. Okay? Do that now. 10 as a factor. You do not have to write C, just do A and B. I do not want you to touch your iPad right now. For these problems at the bottom, B, C, and D, you can use your iPad. Rewrite the number and then do what it says, okay? On A, there's no reason. Does anybody know why? Zoe?
Because it's really simple.
No. Why do you think, Anita?
Because it's times.
Well, these are both multiply. These are both divide. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Sydney? You're getting closer. Alea?
Because we already know how.
You do?
Yeah, I know how to do it.
How are you going to do it?
We times 3,
Times 100. How are you going to do that?
and then it's going to be...
Don't tell me the answer, but how are you going to do it?
in your head.
Well, yeah. What are you doing in your head?
Times the...
Are you hopping the decimal in your head?
Yes.
You are not. What are you doing in your head?
We're adding...
You're adding zeros in your head. So this one, you don't have to hop the decimal because it's the zero trick. Okay? Now you have 11 minutes.
There's the 0
Method. Thank you. So you have 11 minutes to do 4 problems at the bottom. That's it. Then you get on Zern and work on lesson 3.